Good morning and welcome to the 7th episode of Vahargana. I finally crossed the Western Ghats and I am on the west coast of India. I am standing on Someshwara beach, a rather rocky beach with the waves thundering on them. And you know that our country has a huge coastal area. The entire Deccan Plateau on the east and the west, starting from the Sundarbans in Bengal to Kanyakumari down south and then back to Sir Creek on the border of Pakistan, is a huge sea coast, which we often just forget. We don't think about the sea coast at all. But there it is. I am standing on the Someshwara beach. Beautiful, but it is monsoon, so it's not a sunny day. It's not a sunny beach. It's extremely overcast. It was raining a little bit in the morning. It cleared up because I had to make this video. Thank God for that. Not too windy, a little bit sultry, but being in Mangalore on a beach in monsoon and still being able to record a video is a piece of good fortune, which I am very happy for. So this is nature on a different scale from the mountains, because this is vast oceans to the left of me, of which you can see just itsy bitsy borderline waves there. But you know, I am not here to talk about nature on this scale. I am here to talk about nature on a much grander scale, on the scale of the movement of the sun and the moon and the planets, and on the scale of the Hindu calendar. So I am recording this episode today. This is Ashwina Masa, Krishna Paksha, Ekadashi tithi today. On the Christian calendar, that happens to be 24th July. And this episode, today's episode, is a tale of two calendars. And I'm going to try and go back to Drik Panchang in the animation today and show to you a flipped version of a calendar where the months are not January, February, March, April, May, June, etc. But each month on Drik Panchang today I will show you will be Chaitra, Vaishakha, Jeshta, Ashada, Shravana, etc. Now, why am I doing that? Because in this concluding episode, I want to go back to a topic which I started with when I started the very first episode. Why is it that our Hindu festivals keep coming on different days year after year after year? Why don't they come on the same day? And today I want to show you in the animation that if you look at the Hindu calendar, for example, Drik Panchang, the Hindu festivals do come on the same day year after year after year after year. So let me try and recollect off my mind some of the names of our Hindu festivals in a particular sequence. Bear with me if I make some mistakes. And think about what is the common factor in these names, common feature in these names of all these festivals. So let me start with Akshaya Tritiya, Ganesha Chaturthi, Naga Panchami, Skanda Shashti, Ratha Saptami, Krishna Ashtami, Rama Navami, Vijaya Dashami, Vaikunta Ekadashi, Uttan Dwadashi, Dhanteras and Naraka Chaturdashi. And then there is Buddha Purnima and Mahalaya Amavasya. What is the common feature of the names of all these Hindu festivals? You see, the common feature is the tithis. Every one of these names which I recited just now, the name of every tithi comes in there. Only for Dvitiya I could not find a festival. Maybe if one of you know a festival which falls on Dvitiya, please let me know. But every other name of every other tithi is there in the names of these festivals. So these festivals are named based on a Chandramana calendar, but they don't specify the Masa and Paksha, they just refer to the tithi. But if I look at Drik Panchang, then I will be able to show you the Masa and Paksha also. And then I will go forward and backward maybe 1 or 2 years and try to illustrate to you for some of these festivals that they come on the same masa, same paksha, same tithi, year after year after year. But of course on the Christian calendar the dates are different. Yeah? Sometimes even the months are different. But that really does not matter, right? For us Hindus, it should be the Hindu calendar which matters, which should matter for that. So I'm going to set myself a challenge actually, and I will posit the same challenge to all of you. So instead of thinking always January, February, March, April, May, June, etc., I should train myself to think more in terms of Chaitra, Vaishakha, Jyeshta, Shada, Shravana, etc. I should be able to, if somebody asks me what is the date today, I should be able to say today is Ashada Masa, Krishna Paksha, Ekadashi Tithi, instead of saying today is July 24th. We should be able to work in two calendars side by side. We are intelligent people, right? So we should have two calendars on our heads, the Christian calendar and the Hindu calendar, and we should be able to seamlessly move between them, switch between them on any given day. So that is the challenge I would like to set myself, and I would also ask you to think about it. That would be putting the Hindu calendar into practical use. But once again, today's episode is a tale of two calendars, switching between a Christian and a Hindu calendar mentally, maintaining a Hindu calendar in your mind, and also looking at the fact that the various Hindu festivals do come on the same day on the calendar, on the Hindu calendar, year after year after year. So I'm going to roll the animation now. Take a look. Okay, let's get started. I want to begin this episode by showing you a calendar which is hanging on my wall. It's hanging on the wall of my study. So this calendar is made by Drik Panchang, as you can see by the logo on the top. Now it looks like any other calendar, and you see the dates going from 1 to 30, but this is a Hindu calendar, not a Christian calendar. The reason for that is that the months on this calendar run not from January, February, March, but from Chaitra, Vaishakha, Jyeshta, and right now it is displaying Ashada Masa. It's showing the year 1944. I'm not going to go too deep into that because in the Hindu calendar, obviously, the birth of Jesus Christ is not the starting point. The starting point is 78 AD on the Christian calendar is the starting point for the Hindu calendar, and there is no astronomy corresponding to that. That is purely historical in nature. So this is Ashada Masa, and the dates are running from 1 to 30. So let me zoom in a little bit so you can see this particular page in greater detail. So this is Ashada Masa, and you have the dates running from 1 to 30. Now every date continues to represent a solar day, and the time of sunrise is shown here. But the numbers are actually representing the tithi corresponding to that solar day. And we have seen that is, you measure at the time of sunrise, you measure the position of the moon and determine the tithi. And 1 is Prathama, 2 is Dvitiya, 3 is Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami, Shashti, Saptami, Ashtami, Navami, Dashami, etc. We have seen this in the previous calendar, but in the previous calendar, the big numbers were the Christian date. Now the big numbers are the tithi, and these tiny numbers are the Christian date. So Shukla Prathama of Ashada is actually 30th June. Dvitiya is 1st July. Tritiya is 2nd July, and so on and so on. But this clearly shows all the things we have seen so far in Chandramana. It shows that there are 30 tithis in a Chandramana, in a Chandramasa. And the 15th tithi is Purnima. And then Krishna Paksha starts, but instead of showing 1, 2, 3, 4, it continues to show 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, etc. up to 30. And 30 is Amavasya, and that is the end of the month.
So that brings us to an interesting point, which is that when Amavasya happens, that is the end of the month. So immediately after Amavasya, I flip the calendar. And now I have moved to Shravana. I mean, I physically go to this calendar and flip the page after Amavasya. The next sunrise after Amavasya, I flip to the next Masa. This is a direct correlation with astronomy. Such a correlation does not exist on the Christian calendar, because there you simply go by, if it is January 31st, okay, now I have to flip to February. There is absolutely no astronomical backing to that. Now, Shravana also is the same. It shows you from 1 to 30 tithis. 15th tithi is Purnima, 30th tithi is Amavasya, which ends the Masa. Every Masa is the same, 30 tithis. But yes, of course, you see Adhika and Kshaya tithis very clearly represented on this calendar. For example, here you see from 15, you jump to 17. So 16 goes missing, and that is nothing but Prathama of Krishna Paksha is a Kshaya tithi and is embedded inside here. Same way here you see 27 repeating twice. The second one is a Adhika tithi, and in this case that is Krishna Paksha Dwadashi is a Adhika Dwadashi. And this stands out clearly because you see the big number 27 is repeating twice. Now we have seen all of these in the previous episode, but here the only difference is each page is representing a Chandramasa. And after every Amavasya, I go and flip. Physically, I flip the page of this calendar to the next Masa. So that's why I call this a tale of two calendars, this episode. So this is the Hindu calendar, Shravana Masa, and it spans July and August. But what is of importance to us as Hindus is the fact that this is Shravana Masa. I have now moved away from the calendar which is hanging on my wall. I have come to my computer and I am showing you the drikpanchang.com website. And up here you can see it is showing the month of July 2022. So this is the Christian calendar that it is showing right now. So the big numbers are the Christian calendar date and the small numbers here are the tithis. Now you see up here a menu option which says switch to lunar base. And that is how you switch from the Christian calendar to the Hindu calendar. So let me click on that. And you see what has happened. Now, it is no longer saying July 2022. Instead, it is saying Ashada 1944, which spans across June and July. Now, it is displaying the Hindu calendar. And there is a menu option here on the left, 2022 Hindu calendar. If I click on that, it generates a PDF file of a calendar where the months run from Chaitra to Falguna. And that PDF file, I took it to Printos and they printed the calendar and gave it to me. And I put it up on my wall. And I showed it to you a few minutes earlier. So this is how you switch drikpanchang.com from the Christian calendar to the Hindu calendar, and then you can generate a printout and refer it every day on your wall. Now I showed you, or rather I told you in the opening video of this episode that I recorded it on July 24th, and that happened to be Ashada Masa Krishna Paksha Ekadashi Tithi. So here we are in Ashada Masa, and let me go to Krishna Paksha. So Krishna Paksha starts here, and here is Ekadashi Tithi. And the small number there is 24th July. The small numbers are now the Christian calendar. So this is the date on which I recorded the opening narration video of this episode. Now, let me get to the crux of the matter. What is the reason for my showing you the Hindu calendar? What is the big deal if the months begin with Chaitra, Vaishakha, Jyeshta, Ashada? The reason I'm showing you the Hindu calendar is to get into a discussion on the Hindu festivals. Now, though I recorded this opening episode video in July, by the time I release it, and you get to see it, it's going to be August. Yeah, and by that time it will be Shravana Masa. So I repositioned Drik Panchanga on Shravana Masa, and I want you to look here on this particular date, which is Shukla Panchami. Shravana Masa, Shukla Paksha, Panchami tithi. And that is a festival called Naga Panchami. Now the pop-up there tells you that Naga Panchami is on August 2nd. Yeah, but that August 2nd is on the Christian calendar. But on our calendar, it is Shravana Masa, Shukla Paksha, Panchami. So far, so good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you 1 year into the past, to the last year, 2021. So I changed it to 2021. I click done. It is showing Ashada Masa now. So let me advance it to Shravana Masa. And I will go to Panchami Shukla Paksha. And now let's see. Again, it's Naga Panchami. So in 2021 also, Naga Panchami was Shravana Masa Shukla Paksha Panchami. Though on the Christian calendar, as you can see there, it was August 13th. Not August 2nd. It was a different date. But on the Hindu calendar, it is Shravana Masa Shukla Paksha Panchami tithi. Now, what about if I go 1 year into the future? So let me move to 2023. There you go. And now it is saying Shravana Masa, but Adhika Shravana Masa. Now, I know that I have not, here it shows you Adhika. I know that I have not covered the concept of Adhika Shravana Masa. I will get into that when I get to Sauramana. But right now, I will scroll past this grayed out tithis because they are all Adhika Shravana Masa. And starting from here is the Nija Shravana Masa, and I will go to Panchami. Here it is. So once again, this is now Shravana Masa Shukla Paksha Panchami, but on 2023, and once again it is Naga Panchami. And this time it's August 21st on the Christian calendar. But on our calendar, it is always, Naga Panchami is always Shravana Masa Shukla Paksha Panchami tithi. Now, that is not surprising because that is the definition of Naga Panchami. That's how Naga Panchami is fixed on the Hindu calendar. It is fixed as Shravana Masa Shukla Paksha Panchami tithi is Naga Panchami. So year after year after year, it's going to come exactly on the same date. So on the Christian calendar, it may come on different dates. But we don't remember the definition which we have for our own festivals on the Hindu calendar. We keep worrying about, the festival comes on different dates. Yeah, but that's on the Christian calendar. Of course, it comes on different dates because the two do not synchronize. But on our calendar, Naga Panchami comes on the same date, year after year after year. Let me now take another very popular festival, Ganesha Chaturthi. So I have gone to now Bahdrapada Masa, Shukla Paksha, Chaturthi tithi. And there is Ganesha Chaturthi. And that happens to be August 31st this year. Right? Now, like I did earlier with Naga Panchami, I'm going to check when did that happen 1 year back. So I go back 1 year. It is showing Shravana. Let me advance it to Bahdrapada. And here is Chaturthi. I'm clicking on Chaturthi. Let me adjust the screen a little bit. And there you go. It's again Ganesha Chaturthi. But on the Christian calendar, it's now September 10th. It's a different date. But on our calendar, Ganesha Chaturthi is Bahdrapada Masa Shukla Paksha Chaturthi tithi. Once again, let me advance forward to next year, 2023. I say done. Once again, it is showing Shravana. Let me advance it to Bahdrapada Masa, 1945. And here is Chaturthi. I click on Chaturthi. And There you go. Again, Ganesha Chaturthi. This time it's on September 19th on the Christian calendar. But on the Hindu calendar, it is always, Ganesha Chaturthi is always Bahdrapada Masa, Shukla Paksha, Chaturthi tithi. And this is the point which I made in the very first episode which I did on the banks of the Kaveri, that we are looking at the wrong calendar when it comes to the Hindu festivals. If you look at the Christian calendars, the dates keep changing. But if we understand our own calendar, the Hindu calendar, the dates do not change because the festivals are defined on our calendar, on specific dates. They don't change at all. Let me show you one more example. I am now in Ashwina Masa, 1944 Shalivahana era or 2022 Christian era. The very first tithi, Prathama tithi of Shukla Paksha, Navaratri begins. And that happens to be September 26th this year. Now I move forward to Ashtami tithi of Shukla Paksha and you have Durgashtami. You come to Navami tithi of Shukla Paksha, that is Mahanavami, and with that the Navaratri gets over with the night of the 9th. And then the next day, Dashami Tithi is Dashera or Vijaya Dashami, as it's more popularly known. So the entire Navaratri festival falls in Ashwina Masa, Shukla Paksha, from Prathama Tithi to Dashami Tithi. Whereas on the Christian calendar this year, like I showed you, it moved from September 26th to Vijaya Dashami was on October 5th. So it seems to cut across 2 months, but on the Hindu calendar, it does not cut across 2 months. It is the Shukla Paksha of Ashwina Masa, the first 10 tithis, is Navaratri festival. Navaratri plus 1 day after that, Vijaya Dashami. Now let me go back like I did previously to 1 year behind, 2021, Bahdrapada. Let me forward it to Ashwina. Let me click on Prathama. And now let's take a look. So Prathama tithi. There you go, Navaratri begins. It happened to be October 7th last year. And then you come to Ashtami Tithi, you have Durgashtami, and then you have Navami Tithi, Mahanavami, and then Dashami Tithi, you have Dashera or Vijaya Dashami. Now let me move forward 1 year to 2023. I say done. It's again in Bahdrapada. Let me advance it to Ashwina and let me click on the first tithi. So, Prathama tithi, Shukla Paksha, Ashwina Masa, 1945. Again, Navaratri begins. And then I move forward to Ashtami tithi, Durgashtami, Navami tithi, Mahanavami, and finally Dashami tithi, Dashera or Vijaya Dashami. Every year it is the same. The first fortnight, Shukla Paksha, first 10 tithis, Prathama to Dashami is our Navaratri festival. Navaratri plus 1 day after that, Vijaya Dashami. On the Christian calendar, it changes dates year after year after year, but on our Hindu calendar, it does not change the dates at all. It comes in the same Ashwina Masa. So far, all the examples I was giving you, the festivals are happening in Shukla Paksha. Now I'm going to introduce to you a festival which happens in Krishna Paksha, and there are some subtleties associated with this. So please stay with me as I take you through this. I'm going to use as an example one of our most popular festivals, which is Diwali. And specifically, I'm going to take Naraka Chaturdashi as an example. So I am following the Amanta system. I am in Ashwina Masa. The Shukla Paksha we saw was Navaratri plus Vijaya Dashami. But if I go to Krishna Paksha now, that starts after Purnima. So this is Krishna Paksha. I come down here to Chaturdashi Krishna Paksha, and that is Naraka Chaturdashi. So I said Ashwina Masa, but that is for me. because I follow the Amanta system. Now, if you are following the Purnimanta system, Purnima Anta, so here with this Purnima, Ashwina Masa would have ended. And Kartika Masa would have started here. And this entire Krishna Paksha would be Kartika Masa Krishna Paksha. So you will say that Naraka Chaturdashi is Kartika Masa Krishna Paksha Chaturdashi. As opposed to me saying it is Ashwina Masa Krishna Paksha Chaturdashi. But both of us are referring to the same solar day. And in this case, the Christian calendar actually comes to our aid, because you can see on the Christian calendar it is October 24th, the same October 24th. But you will say on the Purnimanta system that it is Kartika Masa, and I will say on the Amanta system that it is Ashwina Masa. This is the subtlety I mentioned, and this is why I spent a lot of effort explaining Amanta and Purnimanta earlier in Ahargana series. Now, in fact, I can even switch Drik Panchang to Purnimanta and show you what happens. So here is a menu option, switch to Purnimanta. So I click on it. So it is saying Ashwina. Now you notice the year went to 2079. It switched also from Shalivahana era to Vikrama era, Vikrama Sammats. But that is a digression, so I will not go there. So we are in Ashwina Masa. But if you now look for Krishna Paksha Chaturdashi, you will land up here, and this is not Naraka Chaturdashi. You have to go to Kartika Masa, Krishna Paksha Chaturdashi, and here is Naraka Chaturdashi. But it is the same October 24th. So I hope I have explained this clearly to you. It appears as if Deepavali is falling on two different months on the Hindu calendar, depending on which tradition you are following, Amanta or Purnimanta. But in reality, we are celebrating on the same day, on the same morning, and on the Christian calendar that happens to be October 24th. Good. So far, I have been showing to you that Hindu festivals come on the same day year after year after year. Only on the Christian calendar they change, but not on the Hindu calendar. Even Deepavali, for example, Naraka Chaturdashi, if you are following the Purnimanta system, you will say this, it is Kartika Masa, Krishna Paksha, Chaturdashi Tithi, year after year after year. But if you are Amanta system, then I would say that it is Ashwina Masa, Krishna Paksha, Chaturdashi Tithi is Naraka Chaturdashi, year after year after year. Same date. Now that I have shown that to you, I will backtrack a little bit. What I mean by that is, sometimes in some years, the date may shift by one day. I will give you an example. I am back in Amanta system, and this is Ashwina Masa 1944. I am still in Ashwina. I am going to continue using the Deepavali time frame, but instead of Naraka Chaturdashi, I will show you this time Dhanteras, Dhantrayodashi. And here it is, Dhanteras, October 22nd. So according to this calendar, it is Ashwina Masa, Krishna Paksha. It should be Trayodashi Tithi, because it is Dhantrayodashi, Dhanteras. Thera is 13, Trayodashi is 13. But on this calendar in front of you, you see that it is shifted off one day earlier. It has gone to Dwadashi. It should have been here, Trayodashi, but no, it is here in Dwadashi. Though it is done Trayodashi, it is being celebrated on Dwadashi. Now the complete explanation for this is beyond me, but I will give you a broad hint as to what is really going on here. So the according to convention which I mentioned, at sunrise we measure the position of the moon, and the moon is in Trayodashi on this day. Sunrise, that is 6:11 on this day, 6:11 a.m. The moon is in the Trayodashi range, Krishna Paksha. So we say this is Trayodashi. But in reality, if you look here on the left, you see that on this date, which is October 22nd, there was Dwadashi Tithi lasting up to 6:02 in the evening. So in this day, up till sunset, it was Dwadashi Tithi, and after that it has already switched to Trayodashi. And Hindu priests determine the Muhurta Kala, Puja Muhurta, as to when you should say the religious rites and prayers for that festival. And for Dhantrayodashi, they prefer that the puja should be done in the evening, around sunset time. And they find that on this day itself, Trayodashi has started already at sunset time. So they say perform the festival on Dwadashi day itself. Yeah, at sunrise it was Dwadashi, but by sunset it has come to Trayodashi. So let's celebrate Dhan Trayodashi around sunset time on the Dwadashi day. Because if you wait for the next day, if you come here, yes, it is Trayodashi at sunrise, but by sunset time, which is 5:57 in the evening, it would have switched to Chaturdashi. So the priests are determining that the puja muhurta should be in the evening for Dhantrayodashi. For certain other festivals like Ramanavami, they would say the puja muhurta is in the afternoon, when the sun is right overhead. For some festivals like Janmashtami, they would say the puja muhurta should be at midnight, because Krishna was born at midnight. And then, instead of sticking with that convention which I have already explained, at sunrise, look at the position of the moon, determine the tithi, they will actually look at this period, either evening or afternoon or night, look at the tithi and come to a conclusion as to when the festival should be celebrated, when the puja muhurta is appropriate. And that may result in a festival called, in this example, Dhantrayodashi. Actually, it appears like it's being celebrated on Dwadashi itself, one day early. So the exact details, again, it is up to the priests. They are the ones who determine which is the right puja muhurta, etc., etc. And again, there may be some amount of variations in between different sects, as to some priests may say you celebrate it on 27, somebody will say you celebrate it on 27. Let me again come back here. October 22nd. So somebody may say celebrate it on October 22nd. Some other sects may say celebrate it on October 23rd. So a 1 day difference could happen some years for some of the festivals. But my original statement that Hindu festivals happen on the same date year after year after year holds for a majority of the festivals for a majority of the years without fail. And this example which I am showing you is the possibility of a variation by about a day. I would be very surprised if it varies beyond a day, goes back 2 days or goes forward 2 days, etc. No, it will typically be a maximum of a 1 day variation from the name of the festival to the actual tithi where we think it's being celebrated. That brings me to the end of this episode of animation. This has been a rather long episode because I covered multiple festivals, and a significantly important episode because this is the crux of Ahargana in a way. This was the goal with which I started, to explain why our festivals happen on the same day year after year after year. Once again, thank you very much for staying with me throughout this episode, and thank you very much for watching.
That brings us to the end of Chandramana. I am at Kapu beach now. Kapu beach is a little bit south of Udupi. But remember, I told you I recorded the opening of this episode at Someshwara beach, which is close to Mangalore. Now Mangalore is Mangala Devi Uru, and what better location can I get than Someshwara beach? The beach has a temple of Someshwara right on the beach overlooking the waves. And I said what better location I can get, because remember, Someshwara is Soma Ishwara, that is Ishwara carrying Chandra on his matted hair. And that's why I liked it that I was there in that location to record the final episode of Chandramana. So in the next episode we should proceed into Sauramana, but I'm going to take a small detour and talk about Nakshatra for exactly one episode. Nakshatra is very similar to Tithi. Nakshatra is also very important for most Hindus, because we call it Janma Nakshatra. Every one of us have a Janma Nakshatra, the star under which we were born. That whole phrase is so problematic to me, but I will explain to you in astronomical terms what is Janma Nakshatra and what nakshatras are in general. And after I finish that, I will move on to Sauramana, and we are approximately in the midpoint of Ahargana, because there are likely to be as many episodes of Sauramana as there have been of Chandramana already. So thank you very much for staying with me all this while. I hope this has been instructive to you, and I hope the future episodes also will continue to be instructive and entertaining to you as the past episodes have been. And please let me know your feedback on my YouTube channel, whether you liked it, you did not like it, is there something else I could do differently. I could still change track and do things differently in the second half of the series. So my sincere thanks to all of you, and until next time, take care and bye-bye.